Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your host, Jay, and we are live once again here in our studios from Inside Out. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do very much appreciate it. We are doing a very interesting but controversial topic tonight, and if you don't know what it is or you don't understand it, it's basically called qualified immunity. Yep, absolutely. And basically, it's an insurance policy, if you will, that protects all of our government entities in this country. I hope you guys really appreciate the topic tonight and the details with it. So before we get into it, guys, obviously, I want to get into the chat and recognize people. That's just who I am. So let's go ahead and, start off with, and I got to find it at the very beginning. Good friend Tin Man's in here. He says, greetings. What's going on, Tin Man? And, of course, obviously, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes going on with you. So I'll get the chat that once they get in here and whatnot, I'll get them to say a few prayers and all of that, because obviously you definitely need it. And I will do the same on my end, and we'll go ahead and do what we can to try to, fix your little situation over there. Let me know in the chat if it's okay with you to bring up a little bit of detail of what's going on with you. If not, I totally understand. We'll just keep it on the DL. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and welcome our good friend Vicky Bailey. How's it going, Vicky? Thank you so much for tuning in here. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing good in your neck of the woods. Nonetheless, I really do seriously appreciate you being here. Welcome in. And of course, we have, and I got to get down the list now here just a second. And there it is. We have Texas Mom. What's going on, Texas Mom? I really appreciate you being here too as well. She said, hey, everyone, welcome in. Absolutely. And of course, obviously do what you can to share this live so other people can get educated on this topic tonight. I think it's very important. And of course, Tim Man said this also in the chat, local government is corrupt. They are trying to take my house. Yes. And, you've been talking about this now for a few days, if not maybe a week or so, give or take. But nonetheless, we're going to do what we can to try to bring awareness, and hopefully we can do what we can on our end, my end, whoever's end, to try to save your house. But prayers are coming your way, Tim Man. Absolutely. And he said, yes, please. So I got the green light from Tim Man, as you guys can see in the chat, to bring this up and talk about this if you want. Feel free to come up on panel if you want and discuss it with your own way. Other than that, we can do it right here with me. It doesn't matter. But welcome in, Tin Man, and I hope everything's okay despite what's going on with you. Tammy, our co-host that usually does this show, is obviously having some technical issues over there in her neck of the woods. She did get a hold of me earlier before the live, guys, just so you guys know. And let you guys know that all cell service is down in her neck of the woods. That's T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon. All the big cell phone companies are down, and I guess a construction company cut one of the main wires to all the networks, so she doesn't have any service right now. So if she can find a way to get in here, that would be great. But it's understandable if she can't. But that's why she's not here tonight, guys, for that reason. So hopefully they get it fixed fast. And Vicky said this, praying for you, Tin Man. Absolutely, we need all the prayers we can get to save Tin Man's house. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of tonight. Now, again, guys, the topic tonight, you guys have probably heard this word in some time in your life. Believe it or not, qualified immunity is, I don't want to say it's confusing, but I do have some data to show up on the screen here tonight with this topic. I want you guys to understand what it really is. And and I said it before and I'll say it again. Qualified immunity, guys, is basically an insurance policy for our government agencies, cops, anything government basically is protected under qualified immunity. So what does that mean as a whole? Well, basically it means this. You, the taxpayers, me, you, Tin Man, Texas Mom, all you guys in the chat and everybody else watching around the world right now, cannot go after them personally. That's what that means. We can't sue them personally and go after their house, their pension, their car, what have you. The taxpayers are stuck paying for those lawsuits and other mistakes that our government entities make. And you're going to see more detail of that here tonight. And I think, honestly, to be totally honest with all of you guys, qualified immunity needs to be abolished and taken off of this whole type of situation. Because, again, why should they be protected for their mistake? It's their mistake, not ours. So why should we have to pay for it? That's what we're getting into tonight. And I think totally, honestly, it needs to disappear. All right. So as you guys know, I'm going to recognize Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia, how's it going? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you too as well. I know you're kind of somewhat close to Tammy, Cynthia. Do you have cell service or internet where you're at? Oh, speaking of which, our co-host is here. Let's please welcome Tammy to the show. Welcome, Tammy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I understand that. It looks like you got your service back. So can you explain to the viewers what happened with your service over there in your neck of the woods?
Well, I think it was an accident. Construction crew cut lines at a cell tower.
Gotcha.
Thereby, everybody in town, all of the major carriers and their prepaid services, and everybody was down, like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile.
Oh, good Lord.
This is the
Wow,
second time this month. Well, it happened once last month, too. And we were out from in the morning. It happened about 8:30 this morning. And we
wow.
didn't get service back till right after 6 o'clock tonight.
Ooh, that was pushing it for the show.
Well, I have Wi-Fi, I have internet, but my electricity went out for a little bit today, so it was
good Lord. Everybody seems to be having
sword.
Yeah, everybody seems to be having a lot of bad luck lately. That's just odd, and you probably heard the news with Tin Man. He's about ready to lose his house. So I feel bad for him. But nonetheless, guys, we need to send prayers to him so he does not lose his domain there. So definitely we're going to do what we can on his end anyways.
And anybody that's in the real estate world or investing world might want to assist there or reach out to Tin Man to get that off of his hands, because if it had a little bit of money invested in it, it would be probably double, if not triple, the value.
Sure.
And there are laws out there specifically for that.
Right. And I appreciate that information, Tammy, as always. But my question for you being that I think you said you in the past that you have a little bit of experience in that field to a certain extent, anyways, with all due respect. Can they actually do this to him? Can the city come in there and do that to his house?
I would have to look up their local regs, and when the house was born, if it was like grandfathered into a historical building, there's certain things he could do, but he could definitely go talk to building and inspecting division at the city level.
Yeah, because
the city council, like the laws reside with whoever writes up the building and zoning.
Sure.
And if he could talk to whoever does the building aspect, as far as like zoning violations and stuff, and show that he's actually working on the house, that he is put the tenants pictures out of there, and that he's working on the house and doing what he needs to do, pulling permits, things like that, then really it's hard for them to come in if he's doing his due diligence on his end with their following the rules, so to speak, with building and zoning. And go
it has something to do. It has something to do with.
Be able to do something.
Yeah, it has something to do with building codes because his house needs repair. So, and they don't want a rundown house in the neighborhood. So, something along those lines. He's repairing it now. Don't get me wrong. There's pictures to proof and back it up that he's repairing the house because the house is in dire need of repair. They're making it look like it's not livable.
Yeah, well, he needs to like go talk to them. I mean, sometimes, like I say, sometimes it's better to bite the bullet and talk to the people at the level. They're the ones writing the things. And even if they're being pushed by a hierarchy, at least if you go and you have it on record and you've got everything, then you can push back a little yourself as a homeowner.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tim down here just said this to you for everybody in the chat, including you, Tammy. He said the city ordinance. So basically is a city ordinance, an excuse for unconstitutional laws. They told me they could bulldoze my house for peeling paint. That's unreal. That's unbelievable.
Well, he just needs to go talk to, like I said, building, zoning, and codes. There's every city has that. They have like 2 or 3 people in there. One's code enforcement, one's building and permits, and they usually handle any kind of like, you let them know you're the homeowner, you're the actual registered homeowner. You've taken possession back from tenants that were in there, and that you're working on getting the house repaired, doing your due diligence.
Yeah, which he
with them, then that will resolve a lot of nastiness that could go on.
Man, they're strict.
The city.
They're strict when it comes to that kind of stuff, man. It's crazy. But anyways, Harvey, my good friend Harvey Talks Prisons is in here. Thank you so much for Harvey for being here. Evidently, you got the notification this time. Hey, Jay and chat. And so basically, Harvey has his own YouTube channel. If you guys want to click his name down there, you can go see what he does. He does something similar, if you will, to what I do. So anyways, Harvey, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, my friend. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into the live screen here in just a second. Tim Man said this: I've been in communication with code enforcement, so he's doing his due diligence and talking to code enforcement.
Names, numbers, times, just like if you're dealing with prison stuff. Names, numbers, phone numbers, time you spoke to them, what you said, what they said. Record it, whatever. Look at your local laws, see if you can record the conversation with your phone. In Texas, as long as we're part of the party of the conversation, we can record. I don't know about Kansas, so you're going to have to look and see there.
If they're public officials, I believe you can record the whole situation wherever you may be.
Every state is different, Jay. Just
FYI. I know, but I got you. I'm just letting you know that if they are public officials somehow, some way, I think you still have that First Amendment right to do that. But I'll look into it more. Harvey says, "Thanks, Jay. Absolutely." Cynthia said this, and I thought HOA was bad. Yeah, HOA is just. I think HOA technically is worse than what Tin Man's going through. But then, it's right up there. But thank you, Cynthia, for that, and everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's go ahead and get into the live screen real quick and show you what the topic is tonight. Again, guys, if you just tune in and you know what the topic is, it's about qualified immunity and what it means as a whole, and why we should get rid of it and abolish it. And while I'm doing the settings, Tammy, real quick, I want to ask you a question. What do you think about qualified immunity, and do you think we should get rid of it, just on your basic opinion?
Okay, I'm going to be very vocal about this in the best way that I can be, as polite as I can. I'm getting tired of working my ass off to pay for frivolous expenses. And I think that if somebody does something now, the double-edged sword for this is, I would love if someone hurt my loved one.
Correct.
Or unalive them, or they came back with missing body parts and such as that we're seeing here in Texas. We had one recently that part of their brain was missing and part of their neck tissue. Here very, very recently that this happened to, than the last month. So, when I see things like that,
I
think
agree.
that you want to know every person that was responsible, hold them personally accountable,
Mm-hmm.
and then also hold the state accountable.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Because without accountability, we cannot stop the nonsense.
Correct.
And there's no accountability because, they sometimes they will arrest people, but you know what? No, that's not enough. That's not enough in cases like that, especially you're injured or your livelihood and everything. You've been locked up 25 years. I don't care if you've been locked up. Let me put it this way. I don't care if you've been locked up a day. If you've been locked up one day and your whole livelihood that you had for how many ever years that you were in that field or profession,
Correct.
and your personal everything about you was trashed and demolished and destroyed.
Yeah. Imagine
and
that.
then they come back and find out that you were not the perpetrator of said alleged crimes.
Mm-hmm.
How much is that worth to you?
Wow. Yeah, that's deep.
And I don't want my taxes paying for that crap anymore.
And I don't
tired
either.
of it.
I don't think anybody in the chat does either. Right, absolutely. Again, keep in mind, guys, and Tammy and everybody else in the chat, I'm sick and tired of being a taxpayer and paying for all these mistakes. It's not right. It's not fair. And no, I think something needs to be done about it, because when we have to pay for all these mistakes, where does that money go anyways? We don't see any results of it. It doesn't benefit nobody. It's just it's a mess.
It is. It's an absolute nightmare. And just like it showed on the thumbnail for the podcast tonight, notice our guy, that's you in the blue jacket, the blue hoodie, doing your research and due diligence. It's all of us. It's all of us. We're all there. Yeah. But if you'll notice in the face how it has a padlock on all the information.
That's a strong message.
They're hiding and protecting information that should be public.
Correct.
They're hiding and protecting people.
And they do it on purpose.
Not right.
Right. And they do this, again, ladies and gentlemen, they do this crap on purpose, to be honest with you. And they don't care. They don't give a damn. They know it's not benefiting or hurting them. It's going to hurt us, the taxpayers. Harvey got in here just a minute ago, said too many innocent people in prison. Absolutely. And a lot of it's due to wrongful convictions and the identity issue that causes wrongful convictions. Yeah, absolutely. Harvey, you're absolutely correct. Thank you so much for that comment. I appreciate you, my friend. Harvey also said this: no, it's not right. And many times when someone is exonerated, they are not compensated. Absolutely. Perfect. So right on. But anyways, guys, as you guys can see on your screen, we're going to be getting into the details of qualified immunity. If you don't know what it is, this is your lucky day right here, or lucky night, to understand this in more detail, because there's a lot of other people out there that don't really talk about this. They just escape through it. But here, you're going to get the whole shebang, if you will. But before I get into the meat and potatoes, guys, this is being put on by Institute for Justice, and they're a pretty credible site. I don't know if you guys know who they are. I use them every now and then. But again, all credit, if you will, guys, go to the Institute for Justice for putting this on and getting all the facts here. So let me go ahead and read this paragraph, guys, to you real quick. And thank you guys for being in the chat and showing your love and respect here. I appreciate you guys. What is qualified immunity? That's the topic tonight. Qualified immunity is a special protection, basically insurance policy is another way of putting it, for government workers that the Supreme Court created in 1982. So this is how old this is. As an act of judicial policy making. Thank you. That's a tongue twister for me. The case, let me go ahead and highlight this. You guys can look this up right here. So you can click this. You can go to the site right now and click that, and it'll give you even more details. But anyways, the case, Harlow versus Fitzgerald, did not even involve police. Imagine that. It was brought by a whistleblower, who wanted to sue Nixon White House aides for punishing him because he spoke out against Pentagon weapons program. Imagine that. Telling the truth, ladies and gentlemen, can get you in trouble. I'll be damned. In Harlow, the Supreme Court made all government workers inhumane from constitutional liability by default. And here's more detail with that. I'm going to go ahead and play this video, Tammy, real quick, and we'll go from there. I'll see you in the chat if you want to go ahead and do that. And Curtis is in here. What's going on, Curtis? But let's go ahead and play this video, and after that, we'll come back into the chat, into the studio, and we'll go from there.
Qualified immunity is a defense that allows government officials to escape civil lawsuits involving violations of individuals' constitutional rights. Qualified immunity stops individuals who've had their homes, vehicles, or in many cases, their bodies damaged by government employees from being reimbursed for the damage done. How can individuals overcome qualified immunity and get their day in court? They must show that the violated right is clearly established. That means finding a previous case where a court ruled that officials violated someone else's rights in almost the exact same way. For example, a police officer who sicked his dog on a surrendering suspect was given qualified immunity because the suspect was sitting down with his hands up rather than lying down. But qualified immunity doesn't just shield officers, it shields all government workers, including elected politicians, inspectors, and IRS agents, allowing them to have a case against them dismissed before it is considered by a jury.
Imagine that.
For instance, last year a court granted qualified immunity to members of a medical board who unconstitutionally searched a doctor's confidential client files without a warrant. Proponents of ending qualified immunity say it protects officials' bad behavior. On the other side, qualified immunity defenders say that it prevents officers and other government agents from being bankrupted over a reasonable split-second decision. But would ending qualified immunity open the floodgates for spurious lawsuits? The answer is an unequivocal no. Abolishing qualified immunity would not end the ability for officers and officials to argue that they behaved reasonably when making a split-second decision. That protection is built into the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Specifically designed against
no kidding
lawsuits. If you can't show that the officer's use of force was unreasonable, your suit will be thrown out, without the officer invoking qualified immunity. Moreover, officials almost never personally pay when they are on the losing side of a civil rights lawsuit.
Imagine that.
One study showed that the government paid 99.8% of the time. When people who swore to uphold the Constitution break their oath and abuse their power, courts are supposed to protect individuals. But qualified immunity and other doctrines prevent officials from being held accountable. That's why the Institute for Justice created the Project on Immunity and Accountability. If we must follow the law, then the government must follow the Constitution.
Absolutely. Well, there you go, guys. And I want to get back in the chat with you guys with that. So, man, powerful message. That's facts, 100%. And that's the reason why I'm so upset and it pisses me off that we all, the taxpayers, have to be stuck paying for their mistakes. What's your guys' take, Tammy?
I mean, quite honestly, it just pisses me off. Because we keep letting people listen. Why shouldn't they be held to the same standard any other American citizen is? What puts them at a higher hierarchy than us? Why in the world, just like it said, the Fourth Amendment, a right to defend themselves? Well, we're in the same predicament when we go to court. So why shouldn't they be held to the same standard of laws that we are?
I mean,
the same crap is Congress giving themselves a better health insurance plan than the rest of America. And just because they serve Congress, they get retirement for the rest of their life, and they get protection and all kinds of goodies and bonuses just for for something that we don't get that even at our jobs.
It's a big slap on the hand. If right, absolutely, Tammy, and it's a big slap on the hand. And if we did that, we go to prison. But if they did it, they don't go to prison.
No, and that's the problem. We're not. The accountability isn't there. It's kind of the same argument that I've been arguing for some time now, is that we have to stop letting them govern themselves. The Judicial Supreme Court made this ruling. They were picked by officials that we elected into office. The Supreme Court is picked by the president and appointed, and they go through their thing with Congress. These are all people that we, as American citizens, voted into office.
Yeah.
They have a huge disconnect between us and them. There's a big, huge gap. They can't relate to us anymore.
No, and I'm kind of glad we're doing this because this topic and as a whole cuts deep. Because there's been a lot of people that have been screwed over by this qualified immunity, and it's disgusting, and I actually hate it. And I don't know. To be honest with you, I think it was a bad idea to even invent qualified immunity. I think it's stupid, to be honest with you. Let me go ahead and see what Tin Man had to say here. That's why the city council is targeting me. Interesting. Yeah. And again, and whatever happened to our own civil rights, our constitutional rights? What happened to our rights? Why do our rights always seem to get trampled on? But man, if somebody else's, that's what doesn't make any sense to me. They can do it, but if we do it, we're in trouble.
Until the we's all get together and start standing up for their rights. I'm trying to think of a perfect way to say this without sounding like I'm trying to incite anything. I am by no means trying to incite anything.
Sure, me either.
I encourage every American to invoke their right to liberty and freedom, and the same. We need to make some effective changes in this country. We need to stop giving so much power to government, and we need to start having bodies of normal, everyday people.
Correct.
As panels and board members or whatever, however we got to restructure it. I do not think that the governmental powers that be are doing their due diligence to make sure that there's transparency and accountability in every form of governmental office.
And I don't think government needs to have all this power. I think we need to take the power back and control our government, not government control us. That's how I look at it.
Well, I mean, originally it was set up for them to represent us for every district in every area. But the problem that I have is the people that are in office do not have a clue about what a normal everyday person goes through, regardless of gender, color, religion, or any of that. I'm just talking about basic going to work and working every day, minimum wage making, all the way to maybe higher middle class. From poor to upper middle class, they cannot connect with us. They're way beyond it. It's a very clear division.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you stop and think about it, and I should have did. Well, there's data here tonight, and I think it's good enough. But there's videos, guys. If you ever have some free time, I know a lot of you don't have a lot of free time. There's videos of the government, whether it being cops, security, whatever it may be. Okay, any government entity or business. There's videos out there of them doing just that, violating every single one of our rights in so many ways. And it's almost like they don't care. They do it deliberately. They know they're not going to get hurt on it, and the taxpayers are going to be stuck paying the bill.
Well, and here's the problem: like it doesn't matter. It applies to all government workers, whether they're local, state, or federal. So you're talking your mayors, your governors, your medical board inspectors, your prison guards, school administrators, IRS agents, everyone who works, as well as private individuals. I want you to know this. Also, private individuals who act jointly with government workers or undertake governmental tasks. Like, say, a private person operates an ankle monitoring company.
Oh, man, yeah,
and there was, there are so many different things that happen. There are so many things.
Thank you, Vicky.
That they do.
Yeah, so absolutely.
We have to start figuring out a way to get this overturned. This is just
Yeah.
another key battle in
It,
the list.
there's so many laws that are basically unconstitutional that need to be overturned, and we obviously can't hit them all, but we're going to basically expose them as much as we can. We got to keep exposing this because eventually the taxpayers are going to get sick and tired of paying for this, and hopefully they'll get enough, guts, if you will, to stand up and change some things. Because obviously we as a whole right here on this live can't do it by ourselves. We need more people. I think we need more taxpayers to get involved and show their concern and how really happy they really are when it comes to waste of money on people's mistakes.
Yeah, and so here's another fun fact, and this is the source is from UCLA law professor Joanna Schwartz, and she wrote a thing called Police Indemnification, New York University Law Review. She wrote an article, and she says officers are more likely to be struck by lightning than they are to contribute to a settlement or judgment in a police misconduct suit.
Right.
And
imagine that.
One study looked at over 9,200 civil rights cases involving officers from 44 of the nation's largest law enforcement agencies. So, I mean, these are some of the things. In 99.59% of those cases, officers didn't pay a dime, not one dime towards it. Right. But guess who did?
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I was going to, if you wanted me to put that up there, I could have done that. Sorry about that. I was reading a comment, got totally sidetracked. Anyways, I do apologize, Tammy. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Anyways, Vicky said this. Vicky said this. We already are, and we need to get more people involved, meaning the taxpayers need to stand up to this corruption. Absolutely. We need more. It takes a major group of people to make a dent in this situation. And I think we can do it if we just get the people to get out of their comfort zone. Anyways, Curtis said this, when they spend our tax dollars like it, there is a problem. Absolutely. It's an absolute waste. So I got some more data I want to show you guys before we go any further with this podcast. Again, thank you guys so much for being here and getting in the chat and interacting with this. This is awesome. I appreciate you guys. Much love and respect to you all. With that, let's go ahead and get up back into the share screen. And I want to show you guys something else that my good friend Tammy, our co-host, has shared with us. Here it is. I'm going to go ahead. It's another video. I'm going to go ahead and play this. I want you guys to pay attention to the whole thing, beginning, middle, and end, and put your comments in the chat after it's done. Here it is. And again, all credit goes to Washington Post on their channel over there. Go subscribe if you want to. They did this bit on qualified immunity explained in more detail from anybody else. And again, all credit goes to Washington Post. Here's that video.
You should not have some kind of blanket.
Hey, what you are being asked to spend for.
Okay, I do apologize on the ads. I can't control that.
Up to 50% off.
While those are on there, I'm sure. Well, go ahead.
Some kind of blanket immunity.
Say again, Tammy.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say that 4 states do not have qualified immunity: Colorado, Montana, Nevada, and New Mexico.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's very well noted. Thank you.
When law enforcement officers break the law, they should be held accountable.
To the extent that qualified immunity fosters a sense of, it's really not my problem. Let's take a look at it.
Qualified immunity is a legal doctrine that was developed through court precedent rather than through congressional legislation. The purpose of qualified immunity is to protect government employees from frivolous litigation. However, it's become an increasingly effective shield in thousands of lawsuits that are seeking to hold cops accountable when they're accused of excessive force.
When a black man is brutally beaten, his family goes to court and tries to hold the officer accountable. Now, the law is written says that the family can do that. It says that the victim of civil rights abuses can do that. Congress passed an act that dates back to Reconstruction. It was called the Ku Klux Klan Act. And it says very clearly that victims of state violence, civil rights abuses have the right to hold government officials accountable. The Civil Rights Act that Congress passed in 1871 created the legal violation, really, the right to sue. Qualified immunity is something that courts invented, and it says, think again, it says we don't care about any of that. We are going to make him immune, unless you happen to be able to point to a case that involved the same conduct and the same context, where a court told some other officer that it was wrong.
So when granting qualified immunity, judges are looking at a kind of a two-part test. First, was there a civil rights violation? And secondly, was it clearly established? But a more recent Supreme Court decision in 2009 allowed judges to skip the first part of the test and only answer, was this violation clearly established as a violation? If a certain excessive force conduct is brought before the court and dismissed from qualified immunity because it wasn't established, that also prevents it from being established for future cases.
The degree of specificity that the court has required of victims and their families to get any sort of relief or accountability in the courts is quite extraordinary. For anyone else, if you're talking about a doctor, you're talking about a construction worker who you want to hold accountable, showing that they violated the law, you can come into court, we'll hear you, we'll give you a trial. But when it comes to police officers, when it comes to state officials, don't even try that. You better be able to show us a case where we said this specific conduct was wrong. The degree of specificity that the court has required of victims and their families to get any sort of relief or accountability in the courts is quite extraordinary. There's a case that went up to the Supreme Court recently that the Supreme Court declined to hear, and it involved sicking an attack dog on an individual. And in that case, there actually was a prior case. A man had already surrendered, and an officer nonetheless sicked the attack dog on that man, and the court said that is a constitutional violation. And what the lawyers for the police argued in this case...
Imagine that.
Well, but in that case, the man was laying face down when he had surrendered. And in this new case, he was sitting with his arms up. And that distinction is sufficiently relevant to say that this officer should get immunity.
Our team of reporters read through hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits, and we found that not only is qualified immunity a very common outcome, but that it's been getting easier and easier for police to have lawsuits thrown out because of qualified immunity. And we're seeing that this is especially true in cases where the judge rules that the rights were violated, but they're still granting qualified immunity. From 2005 to 2007, we were looking at cases where defense raises a qualified immunity defense. And in those cases, there was a qualified immunity ruling that favored the police in only 44% of cases. But in the more recent years, from 2017 to 2019, the ruling on qualified immunity favored police 57%, more than half the time. And there have been a number of Supreme Court rulings in that period in between that made it much more difficult for plaintiffs to overcome qualified immunity. It's a pretty growingly controversial doctrine, even within the Supreme Court itself. For example, Sotomayor in particular has been outspoken in some of her dissents, writing, for example, in one, it's telling police that they can, quote, shoot first and think later, and it tells the public that palpably unreasonable conduct will go unpunished.
Wow.
This bill also removes qualified immunity for police officers. That means any police officer could be dragged into civil court by any disgruntled person they ever come in contact with. And we all agree bad cops shouldn't be able to hide behind qualified immunity.
A year ago, I would have said, the Supreme Court is the only audience that is really paying attention here, but that's not true today.
There's been a lot more attention at the congressional level in discussing what could happen to the doctrine next, whether to reform it or abolish it.
The House has passed a bill that would end qualified immunity.
The resolution is adopted.
It's sitting in the Senate waiting for action.
Write your senators, folks.
Everyone would agree that Congress has the ability to say that, look, we passed the Civil Rights Act of 1871, the Ku Klux Klan Act, and we said you can sue police officers and other state officials when they violate your rights.
Yeah.
And we meant it. We didn't write
There you
qualified immunity. We didn't intend for there to be any qualified immunity in that law.
Screw our government. Wow. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And again, all credit, if you will, goes to Washington Post for putting that on. Thank you so much for doing that. Man, you guys, deep information. Tammy, your take on that?
We need to put pen to paper. Write your senators.
This is the year.
I just keep telling people, you got to push it. The pen is mightier than the sword when it comes to these type of things. The more we speak out, the more we ask, and we tell our government, look, we put you in this position because we rely on you to speak for us. And this is what we want. As a citizen, I want to no longer use my money that I earn, not Congress, not the Supreme Court. I earn it. I no longer want my money used for that. I want my money to protect the kids that got unalived, 6 children and 9 injured at a school in Atlanta, in a suburb of Atlanta today. That's where I want my money to go. I want my money to start investing in our youth and protecting. I want my money to be invested in programs that are positive, that are helping people get help with their mental illness and get help with the issues that they have.
I agree.
Stop throwing money at things that are negative, have a terrible impact, have no accountability. We just keep on throwing money at stupidity. It makes
and what does it do?
sense.
And what does it do? It doesn't do anything.
It breeds more stupidity. That's what it does. Let's be honest. It breeds more stupidity. It was brought to my attention tonight. I got a phone call before the show from another advocate in Mississippi.
Oh, good.
And this hit her home. It's a tragic story.
Okay.
I don't know names, and I wouldn't even tell them if I did, because there will be a case involved in this action that happened. We have a 14-year-old that allegedly broke into a 16-year-old's mother's vehicle.
Good Lord.
16-year-old tells 14-year-old, I know you broke into my mom's vehicle. I want you to give back. I don't care if you keep the money you stole, but I want you to give back XYZ, because one of those things was something from a family member that passed that we want it back. An heirloom or something, significant. Sentimental. That's the word I'm looking for. Sentimental. 14-year-old then shoots 16-year-old. Now 16-year-old is unalived and 14-year-old is looking at 25 to life.
Gosh.
What are we doing to our kids that we can't communicate effectively anymore to teach them to not ruin their life by one split-second action? But yet we can give qualified immunity to any governmental official or private company that has government officials because they make a mistake in a split second. Most people that ended up in prison at one point or time and another, and they may have started out with one thing and they've been a repeat offender with recidivism or whatever, because they get out and they can't find a job, or they have to go live in a toxic environment because they have nowhere else to go. Because that's the only family member they have to stay with, or ex-girlfriend, or whatever the situation may be.
Correct.
Point being is, we are not looking for true answers. Well, some of us are. Our group, our team, we're looking for answers, and we have them. We need funding. We need funding to get to where we need to be.
Correct.
So my point being in saying this is we will take money and invest in programs we know are meant to fail because prison, once again, is modern day slavery. They are
Absolutely.
making money off the backs of the broken.
Absolutely.
Period. No, there's no way, shape, or form. Now, Tanya, I wish we could get her up here. Tanya,
Right.
I wish you'd come up sometime if you get a chance or want to. Tanya put out in a group post on Facebook. Tanya, please put your Texas Mom. Please put your group from Facebook on here.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat. You are a mod. I think you're a mod, so you can do that.
I'm almost positive we modded her. Please put your group in the chat. She has an article that she put out on her group page that Texas is opening a new. It's an old prison that they had shut down that they're opening, and they're making an innovation. Remember?
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a great story. It shows that some people in the right places are starting to realize that the system's broken and they have to do something.
Well, it's a start.
It's a start.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's yeah. Is Texas Mom in here by chance? I don't know if she's.
I saw at the beginning she was. Now she may be on the phone.
Maybe I can get her to pop in here or put that link in the chat. Nonetheless,
I will, if not, I'll look
okay.
for it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tim. If you have it, let's go ahead and put that so people can be aware of it. Absolutely, knowledge is power. Can I post a listing from my house? Tin Man said. I don't see why not. I don't have a problem with it. If you feel like you need to, I think you are also a mod, Tin Man. Yeah, you are, because some places don't show the ranch. I'm looking at my other screen. It shows that you have a ranch. That means you're a mod. So go ahead and put the link in there and go from there. I got to make sure that I get this information right with you, Tin Man. Are you trying not to sell your house, or are you going to sell your house? Because I understand that you're doing everything you can to fix it and try to get it upright and get these guys off your back. And you got, 7 days left to do it? That's impossible. 7 days to try to paint your whole entire house and get everything fixed in 7 days, it's impossible. But then yet, there are companies out there. And again, I'm not trying to be negative. I just want to keep it real with you 100%, Tin Man. As you know, we've talked in private. I want to let you know that there are organizations and companies out there that will actually technically take the whole entire house off your hands as is. No more repairs, no more stress. I know you don't want to get rid of it. I know it has a lot of sentimental value. Like I've been there. I know exactly what the hell you're going through, with all due respect, but I'm just going to give you the advice for tonight from a friend to a friend and let you know that there are options to get yourself out of this. If not, and if you don't have the funds to fix it, you can also, and I know this might be last resort, and I don't think anybody should do that, especially if they can't afford to make the payments back. There's mortgage, there's a loan on your house. You can take equity out of your house to repair your house and have a company come in, a contractor and whatnot to come in and finish your house to save your house. There are options. I'm just throwing them out there respectfully. And I hope you can understand that. I'm not trying to be negative in any way, shape, or form. Curtis Scott in here says post where, Tin Man. In the chat right here on YouTube, Curtis. He's dealing with some major house issues in his neck of the woods, and he's trying to get his house situation taken care of. Nobody likes to lose their roof over their head. I couldn't even imagine what's that like. Anyways, with that being said, Tammy, go ahead. Did you want to put the link in there? Did you find it?
I couldn't get the link, but I wrote her and asked her for the link. She'll send it to me here in a minute. But
okay.
I'm sure she'll send it to me. She's probably on the phone with her loved one.
All right, no worries. Okay, Tin Man did put. Oh, here it is, the Craigslist post. Okay, guys. So for you guys in the chat, if you have any kind of knowledge or experience or any kind of help or whatever you can assist Tin Man with, there is the Craigslist post right there on in the chat. All right, guys. So go check that out if you can, please. And I'll pin it, so it ain't gonna leave nowhere. Curtis said exactly. And then he also got in here and said, I know. Okay, I wasn't sure if you knew that, so I just wanted to clarify it with you. Thank you, Curtis. So as we sit here and wait for that link for that website with Texas Mom, I'm going to get back in the share screen, and I want to go ahead and show you what I know about qualified immunity. And then we'll open this up for the rest of the evening for your guys' comments and concerns that you may have for tonight's topic. And then we'll go ahead and update you guys of what we got coming on for Man's Night and next week. So let's go ahead and do that real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about when it comes to my knowledge on qualified immunity. And it's pretty much what you've already heard here tonight, but I want to let you know that I did a video on it. Here's that video.
Qualified immunity. Does it exist inside of our prisons? Let's get into this. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jay here from Inside Out. Qualified immunity. How many people out there know what it is? Well, for the ones that don't know what it is, it's basically this. It's an insurance policy that the DOC and any other government entity is protected by. So that means you, the taxpayers, me, or all locked up loved ones cannot go after them personally. We can't take their house, their pension, their boat, their car, and so forth, yada yada, because the qualified immunity keeps that from happening. So if you got a lawsuit and you're going to win, guess who gets stuck paying the bill? That's right, the taxpayers. If you guys like this type of content and you want to hear and see more of it, hit that sub.
And there you guys go. And that's my knowledge and take on it. But I think we need to get rid of it because, you know, I'm tired of paying for government mistakes. Tammy?
Yes, me too. I sure am. It just gets so old. It gets absolutely, you know, not all government is bad. We need some kind of structure. I'm not here to bash government.
No.
My problem is that we have what we call human beings working the government, and we have good human beings, and we have terrible human beings. There's one side or the other. We all have good and bad in us. We all make mistakes. There's a difference in a mistake and beating the crap out of somebody till you unalive them or damage them permanently. There's a difference in making poor judgment based on race, religion, gender, or just the fact that you're on a power trip, maybe. I mean, it happens every day in our life, everywhere we go. And I hear it on the daily. I mean, I hear it every day when I get my phone calls. I work such and such, and you know, I'm getting the runaround, and they're doing this and that, and then I'm just like, okay, look, I'll stop everything to a halt, and I'll say, okay, I appreciate you giving me all this information. Now, this is what you're asking me to do, and this is what you need. Or I will say, how can I help? And then I'm like, okay, so we have this problem. Let's get a resolution to this problem. I'm going to get you some kind of resolution. If you'll work with me, and we'll get this taken care of. Correct. And I get them resolution. My phone call may be longer than somebody else's, but I promise you, by the time that call is done, they're not going to call back 4 more times during the week. Because they're going to have the resolution they need. 9 times out of 10, I can help them. If everybody would just take that stance with the problems that are facing our world, this is not just a United States problem. Yes, the prison system, yes. Some of the laws we have, but some of the basic, just most basic functional problems, mental health. People need shelter.
Yeah. I agree with that.
They need mental health help. And they need, look, our kids need coping skills. A lot of the kids that are coming up now have no clue.
Because it's the parents. Their parents are not parents anymore.
Everybody's lost sight of what really matters. It's the person that's sitting next to you at the end of the day. That person in your 4 walls, whether it's you by yourself, we all have problems. We all have issues.
Correct.
But we have to learn how to communicate effectively in order to resolve problems.
Yeah, and look at Vicky's comment, which is kind of just tail into what you said there. She said exactly. So she agrees with you, Tammy. She says exactly. Just like my son was sitting in jail with a broken hand, 3 places, and refusing to give him medical treatment. What you spoke on for surgery because they don't want to be held accountable. So that's another medical neglect issue and lawsuit that the taxpayers will be stuck paying for. Perfect
now,
freaking.
Vicky, is this the one that's in Texas? Please let me know in the chat.
I don't remember. Is Vicky in Texas or is son in Texas? I don't remember. I forget, guys.
She has one that was facing some stuff in Texas. Vicky, if you can let me know if he's in Texas. And then I want you to reach out to me in text. You have my phone number. I want you to reach out to me and tell me where he's at, whether it's a county jail or it's TDCJ. If it's TDCJ, I don't need his information per se. I just need to know what unit he is at. And if you know what unit and what wing he's on.
And this is how oops, I'm pointing at you, Tammy. This is how advocacy works. Teamwork.
Yep.
Basically, call it action.
Because if I don't have the answer, I'll find somebody that does. I promise you.
This is how we get things done, ladies and gentlemen. We work together, network, and expose these people. She said Michigan.
Okay, well, we'll have to find out. I'm going to have to look at Michigan's rules and handbook and find out who the powers that be. But let me say this. They have their policies and procedures within the prison. But we are not in prison. Our loved ones may be, but we're not. So just remember that we have another way to go around that if we need to.
Yep. And again, perfect example for tonight's topic. Those DOC officers in Michigan are protected under qualified immunity. So any lawsuits that are required or get filed, our taxpayers will be stuck paying the bill for medical neglect. Imagine that. She said, okay, I will. She'll get a hold of you, Tammy.
Okay, good.
So, Tammy, real quick, before we bounce out of here, we're getting close to the top of the hour. Man, time goes by fast when you're having fun. But for what do we got lined up for next week or for Friday and next week? I heard some rumors flying around.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that I would like to do a positive spin. I am trying to get a special guest. I don't know if that'll happen, but I am trying to get one of 2 people to come in.
But you have it in the works. It's in the works.
About their experience while in TDCJ, because I'm in Texas, and I think that Texas does set a lot of precedents with a lot of stuff that goes on in there. And I'm trying very diligently to get somebody to come up and speak that we can all, I think that, and I want to remind everybody, please make this a safe place for people to come in and talk. That it, I have told them they don't have to talk about their specific case or details of their charges because you know what, that's none of our business. But I would like them to talk about the conditions and their civil rights and what they've done once they've gotten out, what things would have helped them more, so that we can find real solutions to real problems.
Correct.
Okay. And so I am trying to work on that. But if not, I would like to kind of focus on this new prison that they are building in Central Texas and see what everybody's opinion is on how they're doing it and what we can do. They're actually doing 2 different things. They have another place too that I'd like to discuss on Friday.
Have a good one, Curtis. Take care, buddy. Nice seeing you and have a great night. Enjoy your show. Much love and respect,
Curtis. So that's kind of where I think Friday night will go. If anybody has anything that they would like us to do a show on, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys have something you want us to specific or you would like to go on. We'd like to hear about it, please.
Yeah, get a hold of us if you have a show idea or a special topic that you think needs to be addressed for the whole entire world to hear and see and whatnot. Get a hold of us right now, voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Again, voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Get a hold of us and let us know what kind of show idea or topic you want to talk about, because obviously we're dealing with a lot of stuff here on a daily that keeps us obviously overwhelmed. But again, if there's something important, which I really like to talk about, is out there, let us know and we'll put it up on the show. Absolutely. Well, with that being said, I don't really have a closing argument. I usually do, but for the last portion of my little statement here, guys, qualified immunity is a big actually mistake and no that needs to be abolished or gotten rid of. I think we need to try to get a big group of people to fight for that, including so many other things. But you know, it's a daunting task. There's so many laws that are unconstitutional and just completely wrong that need to be abolished and taken care of. But anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get in the chat one last time here before we bounce out of here. Trey said, okay, I'll try. Not sure exactly what he meant by that. I must miss something. And actually, Tammy got in here and said this: stop hate speech. There it is, guys, right there. This shirt is still available, by the way, on my merch store, on my merch line. Go, if you want this shirt, you can get it right now. The shirt is actually in this description of this video. Go check it out. There's other stuff there too, guys. But if you're interested, I wear this outside in public almost every day, and I get a lot of attention with it. It starts a conversation. All right. With that being said, though, Tammy, again, thank you so much for your help and being a co-host for this show. I appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here and happy to contribute in the ways that I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, just please remember, every time we step up and we stand up for someone that doesn't have a voice, no matter if it's prison or not prison related, you know, pat yourself on the back for doing what's right. And night, love and peace to you as well, Vicky.
Good night, Vicky. Thank you so much for being here, hon. Trey Stone said this real quick. I'll try looking for topics and news. Absolutely. I appreciate it, Trey, very much. Thank you for doing that.
Please. We
Put it
appreciate
in.
you.
You have my email. Send it to me, and we'll go from there. And I'll send it to Tammy, and we'll work on it and figure out what will work and what not work, and we'll put it up for the show. Let us know what sounds good to you. Something important, anyways. All right, guys. Well, that's going to go ahead and cut it for today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys, if you're new here and you like what you see, make sure you hit the sub, hit the like, put a comment down below what you thought about this video here tonight, and also hit the share button, guys. The more we get this out there, the more we can plant seeds and educate the masses. Tammy, great job. Thank you so much for your help tonight, and I will see you next week as always. And everybody in the chat, I will see you guys next week too as well. With that said, you guys have a great night.
Week, Friday, men's night out.
That's what I meant. Sorry, I'm tired. It's been a long
9
week.
9 p.m. Central Time, everyone.
Thank you for correcting me. You want to take over? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys.
When I need to, because
no, I'm just
time and place where I'm going to look at you and say, Jay, I can't do it. You got to help me here.
No, it's all right. I mess up. Hey, it's human to me. It is what it is. But Friday we have a show too. But anyways, love you guys. Take care. Peace. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Bye.